Welcome to the show. Now please strap in for the truth and remember the words of the great Tom Cruise.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Now welcome to Off Topic on Porn.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, OTOP watchers and listeners. We're back with you this evening for another OTOP episode, and I have with me again the incomparable James Aldridge. Hey, James, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. It's been
All right.
been a busy week, but everything's good.
Yeah, weeks have a way of flashing by these days, don't they?
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah, but it's good to see you again, my friend. And last week, let's just go ahead and hop into this. Last week we talked about the Spurs, and I suppose we'll talk about them again right now, and then we won't talk about them for a little while longer, right? So,
Right.
what say you?
Well, the thing about the Spurs, of course, for all you OTOP listeners, we are recording live from sunny San Antonio, home of the San Antonio Spurs. Obviously, it's a heartbreak. We're experiencing a little bit of heartbreak down here in San Antonio. We're so used to winning, Russell. I remember watching the Spurs since the first championship win in 1999.
Yeah.
And we're used to Spurs winning in this year and that year. We're used to winning. We're not supposed to lose finals. I think it only happened one other time with either.
No. I think this is the only time.
Did we?
Unless the Spurs prior to 99 got in, and I'm just not remembering. They may
No.
have.
Yeah.
But I thought that when 99 got here, that was the first time that
Yeah.
they've lost. Every time they made it in, they won.
I think it was 1 year against Miami Heat. And then the
They
Spurs came
lost?
back they lost in the finals, and they came back the following year and grabbed the title. So
Okay. Well, we'll go with that.
yeah.
I won't claim a pristine memory on that, but
Yeah.
if
Yeah, we're used to winning them.
we are used to winning them, yeah. So just I guess a little comment here to kind of mitigate the disappointment. We shouldn't be too disappointed. They did become Western Conference champions this year. And there was no reason to suspect they were even going to get into the playoffs at the beginning of the year, let alone fare as well as they have all season and do as well as they did. This Knicks team, they just out-veteraned them. This is a veteran Knicks team, and this is a very young Spurs team. And we got to see the difference, There were at least 3 of the games that I'm aware of where the Spurs were handily ahead and then lost. So, what causes that? I mean, when you're ahead in one game by 29 points, and then you're ahead by, I think, 27 at halftime,
Right.
and then you can't muster enough offense or defense to preserve that lead in the second half, that you just got out veteraned. That's all.
Yeah.
And so I don't think we should be too hard on the Spurs. They gave San Antonio a fabulous season, and they have nowhere to go but up. I mean, this is a young team, and they're going to get more and more seasoned as they go. So look out. If this group stays together, look out for the next few years. Is that it, brother?
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. Just kind of processing it all. It's just one of those things. A lot of emotional heartbreak. Yeah, I think if my cardiologist knew that I was watching the Spurs in the finals, I think he'd probably reprimand me because he doesn't want me getting a heart attack.
Best you not tell him, brother. Well, let's transition here then into another story that has been making a lot of headlines in recent weeks, and particularly this past week, and that is the trial of Karmelo Anthony, which is something I know that you've tracked with some. So that's, of course, he was accused of murdering Austin Metcalf with a knife, and he was convicted of that. So he was found guilty, and is sentenced to 35 years in prison as a result of that, and all heck has broken loose across the country because of it. So your comments, James?
Yeah, my comments on that, and I find this to be one of those flashpoint cases where race. I know race is involved, but it didn't need. I don't think it needed to be involved in this particular story because these were two high school students, 17 years old. They were both at a high school track meet.
Mm-hmm.
There was an altercation. Hey, it wouldn't be the first time two boys in high school get into a fight.
Not at all.
It got heated, and unfortunately, Carmelo Anthony stabbed Austin Metcalf in the chest with a knife. And I know there's been talk about this being a miscarriage of justice for Carmelo Anthony and his family. There's been GoFundMe pages set up for both families. Carmelo's family raised something like 500,000, 600,000 for moving expenses. So it's become unnecessarily burdensome and racial and tensions. I think we talked about, there was a story about people going to the gravesite of Austin Metcalf and urinating on him. And that's highly disrespectful. And I think we have to remember that these are just these are two kids.
Yeah,
but still murder.
There are influencers who want to make it more than that, and there are Americans that are just feeble in their minds enough to be taken in by all of this.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to even have to put it this way, but it was so obvious. This case was so obvious. Some cases aren't as obvious as this one. This case is so obvious. It's obvious that he was guilty. And he actually got a pretty lenient sentence compared to what people were seeking.
Yeah, murder, when I was younger, you murder someone, you go to prison the rest of your life, or you get the electric chair.
You got it,
man. That wasn't even the case. You got 35 years.
Objection. So all of that, and then people want to say these things and do these things, and when it comes to the Black Americans that are doing this, and I'm going to be careful to say, certainly not all, and I think not most of the Black Americans of this country are involved in this. But the ones that are, why should someone like me not see this as anything more than them saying that if a white man is murdered by a black man, that's perfectly fine. But the other way, it shouldn't happen the other way around. That's not fine. Why should I not see it as that's what they're actually saying?
Right.
And so, and I say that just, as a white man, but just as a man, as an observer, as an honest observer, this is not how we do things. This is not how this is not according to the standard of righteousness. If a man has his day in court and it's a fair trial, which this was, then, and like I said, kind of on the lenient side when it came to the sentencing, then we're supposed to respect that in this country.
Right.
And, he had his day in court and his defense team speaking for him. So it's not like there was a miscarriage of justice at all. This played out exactly like it was supposed to.
Yeah.
And yet we've got all this going on right now.
I think what it is, Russell, I think you have certain actors in the public sphere. They want to take this case and manipulate it for their own personal gain.
Yes.
How can I advance an agenda? How can I enrich myself? How can I win elections and get political points off this tragedy? How can I exploit this for my own personal gain? And they don't care anything about either family. They want to just push an agenda, and I just think that's very wrong.
Yeah, all excellent points.
Yeah, but I will say that I'm not happy that this young man, that Carmelo Anthony, is going to prison. I wish that cooler heads would have prevailed and he did not get into a fight and he would not have stabbed this person.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is you don't have to murder anybody, and you should not murder anybody. And so this is what happens when you do. And this is what should happen when you do. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's never right to murder.
Yeah.
That's pretty basic. It is never right to murder.
Yeah.
And it's in that area where people want to start debating what that means or whether that's true. that we start having these kinds of issues.
Yeah.
And it's too bad.
Yeah, and I agree, with you. And I think this kind of reflects this whole social media frenzy culture that we live in. We thrive on violence, especially if we think that we're in the right.
Mhm.
If we perceive someone as possibly racist, like Austin Metcalf supposedly was, I don't think he was, but even if he was, we have this culture that says yes, he deserves everything he gets. Let's fight this person. Let's harm this person. Let's beat him up. We see this on, I watched, various videos about, white women getting beat up by black people because she's a Karen. She was racist, therefore I'm justified in assaulting this person, or
Yeah.
beating this person up, or beating that person up.
Yeah.
We're feeding on this culture of violence,
Mhm.
where we perceive ourselves as the victim, we have the right to harm someone, and in this case, kill someone.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And this is what happens when people never grow up and they come into adulthood biologically, but not in their spirit, not in their soul.
Yeah.
And they're able to carry out childishness, a childish vendetta
Yeah.
from the perspective of as an
Yeah.
adult. This is what happens because that's
Yeah.
what was going on with him. He
Yeah.
obviously, some part of him never grew up enough for him to realize as a young man, you don't do this. And there's all kinds of excellent questions that were raised, like what was he doing there with a knife to begin with?
Right, exactly.
And it was a folding knife, yet it seemed to like it was unfolded and ready to wield. So did he not realize? Maybe he realized, well, I'm not supposed to be here, but I don't care if anybody says anything. I got something for him. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
But all of these things are possibilities. It's very incriminating when you look at it. It's very incriminating, and people are just not being fair-minded. They're purposely being unjust.
Yeah.
In the name of justice.
Yeah, and I just want to touch something on, the NBA series that we just concluded, because there's been a lot of violence associated with that series. Spurs fans in New York being assaulted, Knicks fans pulling jerseys off of Spurs fans, beating them up, setting them on fire. And there was armed escorts in San Antonio police having to escort Knicks fans. Although we don't really see that here in San Antonio, but San Antonio fans were assaulted. So this is that same culture.
Yeah.
Hey, you're with that team. I'm gonna beat you up because my love of basketball is more important than your common humanity.
Yeah, and there is no sportsmanship.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
And I think and I think that's part of maybe one of the threads in this whole Karmelo Anthony case. They belong to two rival high schools. Okay, let's not take this to a violent level. I think we're forgetting that.
When I remember back in, I guess this was maybe 2,000 years ago when I was in high school. I remember one year, this is just an example, this kind of thing happened all the time. I remember one year we were playing against the Sam Houston Cherokees. Of course, they're not called that anymore.
Yes,
but they were at the time.
Yeah.
And both schools have their ROTC corps would pull guard duty. And it was customary for the officer of the guard to go over and from one side of the school to the other to greet the other guy. So I went over to Sam Houston's side to greet the officer of the guard, and he came up and was like really cordial and friendly, and we saluted each other and shook hands, and it was a really good exchange. Now I'm on the Sam Houston side, and they're playing against my team, right? Well, right when I was over there, my team scored a touchdown. And the officer said, "You're on the wrong side," but he was kidding with me, I said, but see, here's the thing: they had a real strong team that year, and they were already ahead of us by a couple of touchdowns. So I said, that's going to win the game for us, is what I told them, because I knew they were going to win, and they did win that game. So see, that kind of interchange is what used to happen, not this thing.
Yeah,
And it's just,
exactly.
it's really, I weep for the future generations if they don't get their acts together on this, because this isn't, they're not going to survive. Uh, their future is going to go awry. I don't know what all would happen, but I know that this is going to lead to a much greater weakening of the country.
Absolutely. Because
Well,
it seems like violence is always the answer to everything, even
yeah,
in politics. I mean, I think about remember we talked about the whole James Comey case, former FBI director
yeah,
posted a shot on Instagram, 8647, let's get rid of the president. Oh, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean
yeah,
to
yeah.
incite violence.
Oh yeah.
A second.
It's like violence is the answer to everything, and it's the answer even if there isn't a question. They
Right.
just people want to do it. So, well, there we go. I mean, justice, I think, was served. It may have been served out in a lenient way, but it was served. And hopefully our law enforcement authorities can deal with this aftermath, because the aftermath needs to be dealt with.
Yeah.
So let's transition here then to another thing that's going on this evening, James. Apparently, and I know we made a comment in prior weeks about whether there was going to be a treaty with Iran or not, and whether when Trump said there was going to be, that was something that we could rely on, since it seems to keep happening. But apparently, there actually has been a deal reached, an agreement made, and there's going to be this Friday, there's going to be a signing of a treaty. And so there is a full ceasefire on right now. And actually, according to some news outlets I've looked at, the oil tankers are already taking the oil out of the Strait of Hormuz and taking it to the different destinations that they're supposed to go to in the world.
Yep.
Which is a really huge thing. And the stock market is going crazy right now. And the oil prices are coming down. We're down to, let's see, the last time I looked, it was $78 a gallon.
Yeah.
And going down. And
yeah, it's been well over $100 a barrel throughout this 3.5 month war.
And the thing for people to remember is that as the prices come down, if we get down to $65 a barrel, we're talking about $2 a gallon territory there.
Yeah.
So and it looks like there's every reason to think it's going to move in that direction. So if this is true, it's good. Now,
yeah,
I don't trust the Iranian regime as far as I could kick planet Earth with my left foot. What do you say?
Yeah, I agree with you there. I know it's tempting to say, yeah, we got it done, but cautious, because we've been down this road before. But what's being said, what we know so far, at least as of this recording, is that there is an agreement in principle this Friday. It will be signed in Switzerland, and it's some really good points in addition to the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. As part of this agreement, Iran will destroy its highly enriched uranium. They will pledge never to obtain a nuclear weapon.
I will not do it.
I pledge on a stack of
I'm convinced.
I pledge. Well, they're promising never to obtain a nuclear weapon, and Iran must stop funding terrorist groups, including Hezbollah.
Yeah.
So those are pretty significant. And I know that former President Obama has already come out and says, well, this deal is not better than the one that I brokered. Well, I think that if Iran gives up its nuclear ambitions and stop funding terrorism, I think that would be at least somewhat of an improvement, because obviously in the deal brokered between President Obama and Iran, funding pallets of cash were delivered. And yes, they were very much active in funding terrorism.
Yeah. So President Trump stopped a nuclear bomb from being created, and now has wrested away the ability for that to ever happen, and has brokered a peace that spreads out throughout the Middle East through the Abraham Accords. So that's on Donald Trump's side. And then on Obama's side, we've got pallets of cash, as you just said, being flown in. And by the way, no currency transaction report, I'm sure, was ever
Yeah.
filled out. So pallets of cash being flown in to help fund the Iranian regime. And what do you think they were doing with that money? They were probably accelerating their ability to enrich uranium. So, yeah, I mean, if of course President Obama must be right. It's much better to have a rogue nation that can fire nuclear warheads at us than not. So
Right.
I guess he's just got a point, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's right. He says it's doubtful that this deal is
Yeah.
better than the one he had in place.
Please spare me. He's just trying to
Yes,
stay
exactly.
relevant.
Yeah,
And
he's trying to stay relevant.
Yeah, so President Trump, among other things, he said this. He said, I hereby fully authorize the toll-free opening of the Strait of Hormuz and simultaneously herewith authorize the immediate removal of the United States naval blockade. He also added, ships of the world, start your engines, let the oil flow.
Yeah.
So we'll see over the next few days. Again, kind of like with the Spurs championship round last week, more things will happen over the next 48 hours. And so by the time people are watching this, we'll be able to tell, and they will be able to tell whether this has progressed very much. But this is breaking news for us right this evening. And so we felt compelled to bring it on here and make this the anchor thing that we discussed. Anything else on this from you, James?
Yeah, I think the main thing we have to consider about this Iranian deal is that this is a nation that I have to remind people that's promised since 1979 to destroy America, to destroy Israel.
Yeah.
They promised that. And they've
Yes.
done a pretty good job in keeping that promise and funding terrorism groups and just causing all kinds of havoc.
Mhm.
So until this regime is toppled, they will continue to be a threat unless they have a change of heart, unless the Iranian government comes to faith in Jesus,
Well,
as millions of people in Iran are.
Yeah,
I think
yeah, go ahead.
they will continue to be a threat to the Middle East.
So first of all, I want to make sure that this is clear. This is a Pakistani brokered peace settlement, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it's not Donald Trump saying this alone. He is, but it's the Pakistani prime minister who's actually announcing to the world that there has been a breakthrough and a settlement. So this is a new wrinkle in the entire dynamic of it.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that that's clear. That's one of the reasons there's a lot of hope going on here, because and people are taking it seriously, because the official negotiator is the one who's saying a negotiation has come through and has been successful. The thing that I am concerned about, and it's kind of tied to what you just said, is what then happens with the Persian people, the Iranian people.
Yeah.
Is this despotic government going to be allowed to continue? And their liberties are now just something we don't talk about? Because if that's the case, then as much as I support this administration, that's not much better than what Biden did to people when he pulled out of Afghanistan. We've got to do better than that. So, and I think the president knows that, so I'm hopeful. But
that is true. If we make this entire war about economics and oil prices and the Strait of Hormuz, then I guess it is a victory just having the strait open. But yeah, I think long term, even before this war occurred, this regime was violently oppressing its own people. Absolutely. And I would assume Iranian Christians. And so if it goes back to the status quo, the people we support may not receive any kind of relief. So I would hope that any kind of peace deal would include, the people. We have to remember that there's, in any war, in any conflict, there's people that just want to live their lives, but people that have families, people that want to live in the sincerity of faith. They're not terrorists. They're not advocates of any government. They just want to live.
And this regime has the special distinction of having oppressed its entire population for decades.
Yeah.
To the point where they're fed up with it, and they're cheering for the United States and Israel. So And that's what's been going on. So we really owe it to them to take this that far. In other words, okay, you people that are in power, maybe you shouldn't be in power. Put somebody else in. Let the Shah's son come in and let's start another regime. So we'll see what comes out.
Yeah.
But I know those are things that have been discussed in the last few months, and we'll just see. We'll just see. I really do kind of, it puts a burr under my saddle the way some people only reduce this, as you said, to economics.
Yeah,
like
oil prices.
like how much you're paying for a gallon of gas is far more important than millions oppressed and murdered.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I will not go there with any American who tries to reduce it to that.
Yep.
So anyway, any final thoughts on that then, James?
Yeah, well, all I can say is that I think that in the next few days, I think it's important for us to be focused, to be vigilant. We need to keep praying for our president, the people of America, the people of the world, and know that calmer heads will prevail and that the gospel will go forth. I just think it just shows that we all need a change of heart. We need a new heart, and that can only be done through Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's exactly right, my friend.
So.
Well, thank you. This was a good discussion this evening, as usual, and it was kind of nice to have breaking news that we could actually comment on for a change. And so it won't be breaking on Tuesday, but it's breaking now, and we're glad to send it out. So we want to remind everybody that we do this weekly, and this gets pushed out every Tuesday. So if you are so inclined, if you would like and comment and share and subscribe, all of those things will help us move this forward in the algorithms and get us more coverage. So share with your friends and family and so forth. If you've got ideas as to what we can cover, in addition to things like news items here, because we do cover some of the relevant news items. We can't cover them all. But if there's other topics, by all means, share those with us. You can go to otopnow@gmail.com and you can send us an email, or you can simply comment in the comment section, and we will appreciate that. James, it's time to pay some bills. What do you think?
Okay, let's do that.
And so, as has been the case for months, one of our sponsors is Mountain Mowers LLC. And so if you're in the Tri-County area, they are your local experts for keeping your yard looking its best. Whether it's mowing, trimming, or full lawn care, Mountain Mowers has you covered with reliable service and a personal touch. They know every yard is different. They treat yours like their own. And if you're ready for a lawn that stands out without all the hassle, call Mountain Mowers LLC today at 276-730-8230. Mountain Mowers, we cut grass, not corners. That's Mountain Mowers. And then our second sponsor is Ritchie Automotive in Bernie, Texas. That's Ritchie Automotive Repair and Alignment. And they specialize in all kinds of automobile repair, and they do it honestly. And so if you take your car in with a problem, they will treat the problem. They'll assess. They may make other recommendations, but they're not going to be dishonest. They're going to fix exactly what needs to be fixed, and they're only going to do it when you say to do it. And so that is becoming, James, an increasingly rare thing in automobile garages these days.
That's true.
But that's what they do over at Ritchie Automotive. And so you can go there and try them out. They are at 29059 IH10 in Bernie, Texas. You can call them at 830-755-8550. Excuse me, 8550, not zeros. We care about you and your car. That's their motto at Ritchie Automotive. All right, James, that is a wrap for us tonight. It has been a pleasure once again to be on here with you.
Thank you.
And so,
it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You are, I typically have taken over from Rob and given the OTOP sign off, but would you like to do it tonight?
Oh, wow. Such a powerful mantle.
I'm giving you,
Yes.
I'm giving you great privilege here, brother.
Yes, exactly. Well, all I can say is that
You
let's
don't
see if I can
always
do
have,
this right. Yes,
yeah.
yes. We don't always have to be on topic. You can be off topic, but you must always be on point.
Yes, you do. All right. As I said, James, that's a wrap. Thanks for doing that. And everyone, we will see you again, Lord willing, next week. Good night.